Ever since 2014, NASCAR, and as such many sim racing leagues, have used a playoff format to determine their champion. And it came down to a manufactured Game 7 moment, a championship race for all the marbles, for everything, where the winner took the championship and 3 drivers went home. But what that did, in several situations over the past 5 years, had emboldened racing fans to call for an old system to come back. One that rewarded consistency, created authentic, organic points battles. And over the years of NASCAR's history, many times it came down to just that. 1992, 2004, 2011, just to name a few over the last 35 years. Fans clamored for, at the very least, a chase-style format to come back, and NASCAR obliged. And in 2026, the chase for the Cup returned, replacing the playoff format and going back to what we used to know, where consistency matters, where every race, every point could determine whether or not at the end of the season you were a champion. Sure, some years it may not produce a points battle. Sure, some years the champion may be determined 2, 3, 4 races in advance. But sometimes you got an authentic battle, and oftentimes that created a fondness in race fans to where we'll remember those years more so than the years of the playoffs. And so in turn, as NASCAR returned to a chase format this year, the Challenger Cup Series did the same, bringing in the chase for the Challenger Cup in the end of each of its 2 seasons in 2026. And tonight is the conclusion of the first of 2 chase formats that we'll see this year. And what better way to start the chase era of the Challenger Cup Series than with a championship battle. Tonight, 2 drivers enter Sonoma, California with a chance to become a Challenger Cup Series champion. And over the next 45 laps, we'll determine which of them deserves it more, which of them has run a better season. It comes down to tonight a 2-point gap, a championship battle, and one that we'll likely remember for a long time. It all comes down to this. 2 drivers enter Sonoma with a chance. One will leave as the champion, the other empty-handed, looking for redemption in Season 2. As we get ready to meet the starters and get to the grid, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back for the start from Sonoma Raceway. Stay right here. It's PGR eSports coverage, the Chase to the Challenger Cup finale from Sonoma. And so it is time now to determine a champion. A points battle comes down to just one race, a 2-point gap between 2 of the best in the business. As the field gets on the grid, it is a short pace lap, but we'll try our best to set up the points battle for you as we head down trackside and prepare for the start. Coming into tonight, 2 drivers have a chance at the championship. The dominant car of the season has been Ryan Patti, the driver of the Fast House Chevrolet. He's won 8 times in 2026 to this point. He won 4 times in his debut season when he ran half of Season 2 of the 2025 campaign. And I said coming in, if he could run a full schedule, he'd surely be one of the men to beat when it came down to it. And all season, he's held the points lead. That is, until last week when a driver came up behind him and slowly closed the points gap. And it's a driver we all know very well. It's the defending champion, the Hurricane, Harold Watkins, in car number 3. Winning 11 times in 2025, you could argue Watkins should have won both of the 2025 Challenger Cup Series titles. He came away with just one. At the end of the day, he was still the winningest driver a year ago, and we really did not see the form, save for a win at Circuit of the Americas back in the month of March. We did not see the form out of Harold Watkins that we saw for much of 2025 here this year in 2026 until the chase began. And when the chase hit, that other gear engaged for Harold Watkins. And tonight, he has an opportunity to best Ryan Patti, steal away a championship, and swipe a second straight Challenger Cup Series title. Will Watkins defend the crown, or will Patti win the long-awaited first Challenger Cup Series title? It's time to find out. It's one race. It's 2 drivers. It's time to crown a champion. Schrader leads the field to the restart zone. Green flag from Sonoma. The championship race is underway. And we'll get right down to it because every point matters tonight. Up the hill to turn 2. They'll come up the hill from 1 and 2. It's a hard right-hander right at the top of this elevation change. They'll head up even further on a hill to turn 3. This left-hander right here. That's where Schrader takes the lead away. Watkins and Patti, the 2 championship contenders, nose to tail. They were also 2nd and 3rd in practice. Watkins off by a little. This a pass potentially for 2nd as they work down to turn 5. Schrader hops over the curbs. A lot of drivers will do that tonight. They'll put all 4 out on the red Toyota logo there on the exit of turn 5. Down a short chute to the tough over 90-degree turn 7, and into the most people's favorite portion of the course, the S's. Left, right, 8, 9, and 10, encompassed by all of these corners, and they'll get down to the bottom of this hill, through turn 10, and down to the paperclip corner of turn 11, which is going to be the biggest passing zone on the racetrack tonight as well. 45 laps the distance, 12 laps the stage distance. Stage points do count in the championship fight. We haven't seen Christian Schrader in a while. Did not have time in prefacing the championship fight. Did not have time to preface the fact that Christian Schrader is in the field tonight, and he is currently leading after lap 1. Of course, was in contention last season at Sonoma as well. Ended up losing that one to Nick Seipel at the time. Schrader won on multiple road courses in 2025. We've not seen as much of Christian Schrader, by the way, as we thought we were going to here in 2026. But good to see Christian tonight. He makes one of his lone starts of 2026 on the road course here in Sonoma. By the way, did not get introduced to the starters either. Here's how they run. It's only 10 cars in the field tonight. Schrader, Watkins, Patti, Hayden, Eldridge. Your top 5 then Little, Woodby, Catrone, Bourbonnier, and Beauchamp. Of course, the most important cars, Watkins and Patti, and here's why. Coming into tonight, only a 2-point gap between the two in the points. What does that mean? Well, let's say Watkins gets a stage point right here, and it cuts the gap to 1. What that will do is it will mean he only has to beat Ryan Patti by 2 positions, or he has to win the race. With Christian Schrader in the field, a tall task. Schrader, of course, the defending second-place finisher here at Sonoma. It'll be a tall task for either he to win the race or for Patti to have misfortune and finish worse than 3rd. As Patti, in fact, will look for a pass here on Watkins. This is off of 11. Talked about that passing zone a moment ago. They both get through it okay. And up to turn 2, Watkins maintains the spot. So again, stage points do matter. Watkins needs, at the very least, to beat Patti by 1 point here, not lose a point to him. That will surely make it improbable with only 10 cars in the field for Watkins to win the title without winning the race, which we anticipated he might have to do. We talked about it last week at Twin Ring Motegi. He told me about it a couple of weeks ago at Pocono, that it was win or bust to win the championship. He had to go to victory lane, or it was all going to be for naught by the time we got here to Sonoma. And last week at Motegi, you do get an extended bonus for winning the race. If one of these two were to win tonight, it would end the championship battle for good. There would be no points to it. With a 25-point bonus to the winner, if you go to victory lane tonight, the championship's yours. But if neither car wins, which, by the way, Christian Schrader's opened up a 3-second lead on the two currently battling for the championship as we run right now. If neither wins, Watkins would, as of now, need to beat Ryan Patti by 3 positions. And in fact, he's going to lose the second spot to Patti here in turn 11. Patti slides it a little bit. Watkins got a clear exit trouble. Around goes Matt Hayden right behind the 2 leaders, or the 3 leaders, rather. He'll get it back going. Black and white aboard the Oakley Chevrolet tonight as he spins. No full course cautions, by the way, with it being Sonoma tonight, a road course. The only caution we'll get, barring a track blocking incident, as the championship contenders both run wide in turn 2. The only caution we'll get, barring a track blocking incident, is for the stage, the conclusion of lap 12. A moment there for Watkins and Patti, surely not the last one in this extended championship battle they've shared over the last 5 weeks. Watkins maintains the ground. For now, he'll hold the second spot. Again, coming into tonight, it was 2 points difference. And why I say that this one stage point will matter so much is because if Watkins were to maintain second position going into stage 2, by the time we get to stage 2, if a pit cycle were to happen, Watkins were to stay out, lead a lap, all of a sudden they would be tied, and then it would be which of the two could finish better, again barring one of them winning the race. It would just be the car that finished better. That's what Watkins hopes for here, but Ryan Patti hot on his tail with 9 to go in stage 1. Christian Schrader's opened up a monumental lead on these two, almost 7 seconds the gap from Schrader to Watkins. And we'll wait and see if either of these cars gain speed here in the race, but Christian Schrader was also fastest in practice. It may very well come down to whether or not one of the two can lead a lap, what the stage points equal out to be when we get to the end of lap 12 here in just a few moments. A little bit of a shorter race tonight. Lap time's only going to be at about the 1:17 bracket, although Christian Schrader is 3 seconds faster than these two cars we continue to watch. We'll keep our eyes back here for now. But the stage points, especially with Schrader running away for the time being, are going to be so important. Knowing that if Watkins were to lead a lap in stage 2, all of a sudden it'd be which of the two could finish higher as to who wins the championship. Only a 50% fuel load on board these cars, only 3 extra sets of tires, by the way. Trouble At the back of the field for Greg Bourbonniere and Brandon Beauchamp. Both have gone off. Clinton Woodby has also had trouble over in turn 7. A trio of cars with some early problems. James Catrone went off a little while ago as well. But back to the battle at hand, and you might be thinking, why are we focusing so much on this? Because it is a big deal. Here's Patti again. He attacks on the entry of turn 11. Watkins runs way wide that time, can't get the runoff that he wanted, and now Patti takes the spot, and that is a big swing. If Patti were to finish a spot in front of Watkins, it's a 3-point gap. And then again at that point, Watkins would need to lead a lap. He'd need as many bonus points as absolutely possible, and if he weren't able to get the bonus points, he'd either need Patti to crash or go and win the race, which again, with Christian Strader already 8 seconds in front of the field, we'll have to wait and see at this point whether or not that continues. Now, I will tell you, last time by, Patti was within 0.8 of Strader. Watkins within a second and a half. The field got a little bit faster. Matt Hayden ran his best lap of the race, a 1:15.6. So the field is closed in on the lap times of Christian Strader just a little bit. And these two are hoping that that trend continues into stage 2. Again, already 8 seconds back. A bit unlikely that either of these cars will catch Christian Strader before the end of stage 1, barring a major incident for the 29. But Patti's scooting away. He's got about an 8-car length lead right now on Harold Watkins. And again, this will be a 2-point swing. This would swing from a 1-point gap to a 3-point gap. Watkins attacks, but overcooked turn 11 and slides the car in the middle of the corner. That's going to give Patti a healthy about 2.5, 1.7 second advantage over his championship counterpart as Watkins overcooked the paperclip corner and now has work to do before the end of stage 1. Again, a 3-point gap with only 10 cars on track could very well prove the difference between a title battle in stage 2 and perhaps a formality in stage 2 if these two continue to run second and third. Again, a long race to go. 10 seconds, almost 11 already, the gap for Christian Strader. And not really surprised. Again, a guy who has been a road course ace in this series for a year now. Every time we went to the road course in 2025, Strader was the man to beat, except for here at Sonoma last July when it was Nick Seipel that got the victory there. Patti overcooks the S's just a little bit. Watkins is able to gain a little bit of ground. He's pushed it back to 1.2 seconds. He's able to chip away just a little bit, but only 6 to go in stage 1, make it 5 as Strader works back past the line. By the way, Bourbonniere and Beauchamp have both come to pit road, the 9th and 10th place cars in their pit box here. Or working towards it. Beauchamp's got major left front damage. Bourbonniere, not sure what, if anything else happened to Double Zero. They both labored back to pit road, and they are coming to the attention of their crews. 1.1, 1 flat. Watkins attacking. 0.9. All of a sudden, Harold Watkins has his feet underneath him in this race. He does not have a lot of time, though, to catch Ryan Patti at the end of stage 1. He knows how much this 2-point swing is going to matter come stage 2. Because there will be a green flag pit stop in stage 2 at some point. Only 10 cars on track. We're not going to get an incident tonight that triggers a full course caution, I don't believe. Knowing that, Harold Watkins has to be on offense here. A 1-point difference, a little bit different than a 3-point difference headed into stage number 2. The question now becomes, do either of these cars have the winning speed for Christian Strader in this race? Strader already 11 plus seconds clear of the field, just 8 laps in. He continues to be 2+ seconds faster than the leader. It's actually only a second faster than Patti last time by. Strader ran a 1:15 flat. We'll get Patti's lap time here as he works past the line. But he has opened up about a 1.6 second advantage again. Patti went 1:16.03. Watkins went 1:16.1. That time around with just 4 to go in the stage. So only 4 to go in stage 1. Strader continues to lead. Let's go just behind the leaders for a moment. We do have a battle on the racetrack for the 4th position. Matt Hayden spun a little while ago. He has gotten some track position back. He's gotten around a couple of cars and now works past Cody Eldred. That is for the 4th position. For reference, that's about 8 seconds off the back bumper of Harold Watkins. Andrew Little starts to attack for the 5th spot as well. Andrew Little in the 68. Waterford Concepts Chevy did some real-life racing this past week in the Spec Racer Fords. A cool experience, surely, for Andrew Little. Got a few top 5s this weekend, if I recall correctly. So Andrew Little getting some warm-up reps in, if you will, in the real-life car before jumping into the sim for tonight's race at Sonoma. Of course, that race was not at Sonoma, but regardless, the point still stands. Eldred holds on to that spot for now. Brandon Beauchamp's had another problem towards the tail end of the field in the 15. A bad start gone worse for that car. Patti's opened up a 1.6-second lead on Watkins as Strader has checked out to the next zip code from the rest of the field for now. Only 3 laps to go in this opening stage. Work down to turn 7. Strader will see 2 to go when he gets back to the line, which should be here in just a moment. Again, these guys 22 seconds back. So keep watching the tower on the top left of your screen. Keep an eye on when he gets to the 2 to go mark in the stage. Now a 2.5 second difference. 2.93 seconds between Patti and Watkins. Harold Watkins is going to have to work the pit strategy tonight, it appears. And speaking of pit strategy, how about it for Christian Strader, who's going to flip the stage here? I can't imagine that Patti or Watkins are going to do that, but regardless, we'll wait and see. Again, no way that either of those cars come to pit road here. But Christian Strader does, and he'll likely re-inherit the lead because of that decision after the stage. But points don't matter to Strader. He's not in the chase. And so he comes to the attention of his pit crew with just 2 to go in stage 1. That gives the lead to Ryan Patti, who is looking to cash in on another stage win this season. And just for reference of how stark that gap has been. In terms of stage points, Patti has the most in the series with 152 stage points in 18 starts. For what it's worth, I'm going to say the series offers 10, or rather 5, to the winner of each stage. That number wouldn't quite line up. But he has 152 total stage points. Next best in the series is Clinton Woodby, 6th in points with 107. My apologies. I kept saying it was a 2-point gap. It is not. It is 8. Coming into tonight, it was a shorter gap a couple of weeks back. It is now an 8-point gap. So this will make it a 9-point gap, and again, almost certainly guarantee that Harold Watkins has to win the race. Now, we've known Harold Watkins to be good on road courses. In fact, both these men have won on a road course this year. Harold Watkins back at Circuit of the Americas in the month of March. Ryan Patti at Watkins Glen back a month ago or so. Both these men know how to get it done the lefts and rights. It's just going to be dependent on who gets the job done better tonight in Sonoma. And we heard Ryan Patti say something last week about this not being his best road course, although he has opened up a 2.6-second lead on his championship counterpart. Again, coming to the end of the stage, do want to apologize. That's an error and omission on my part. It is an 8-point gap, not a 2-point gap. And now it's about to be 9. So far, so good for the dominant man of the year. And he sits just 33 laps from a title. Ryan Patti to the line. He'll win stage 1 and capture the 5 stage points. We assume now it is a 9-point gap. And with only 10 cars on the racetrack, you can do the math. It almost certainly means now that Harold Watkins has to win. So now we know the stakes. Stage is complete. They'll come to pit road. And while they do that, we're going to take our one and only break of the evening. We'll be right back for the conclusion of the championship race, the Challenger Cup Series from Sonoma. You won't miss a thing. We'll be back for Stage 2 right after this. You're watching PGR eSports, coverage of the chase for the Challenger Cup, and the finale of Stage 1 from Sonoma, as the field works around Brandon Beauchamp. Lucky for us, Patti and Watkins both get through unscathed. Now we'll head to our break. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. You won't miss a thing.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. 3x3. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run! Ladies and gentlemen, we got Harold.
The monkey has prime!
This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time! Oh, that's good.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. 3x3. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Have created
Welcome back to the Challenger Cup Series Season 1 finale here in 2026. You're watching PGR eSports. My name is Dawson Watts. You're just joining us again. The gap now between Ryan Patti and Harold Watkins is at least 9 points. And because of that, we now know it's likely actually 10, with Ryan Patti leading a lap. Harold Watkins now all but likely has to win this race to win the title. So it comes down to one of those two trying to beat Christian Strader, who's been the dominant car of the evening so far. If it stays like this, Patti would love it. He wins the title. Watkins knows he's got to press some buttons here and try to get things moving in the right direction. It'll be about 30 laps to go, maybe just short of that, actually, when we get back under the green flag. It'll be 29 laps to go. We'll get the one to go right here. 9 cars still in the lead lap. Brandon Beauchamp's going to get one of those laps back, be just 1 lap down. Should another caution come out in this race. Again, no full course yellows tonight unless the track is blocked. We've not yet had one of those incidents so far in this one. And already 15 laps in the book, so a 45-lap race, and it is only 9:06 on the East Coast. Time is running out for Harold Watkins here. As we get the one to go, the lights will go out. Brandon Beauchamp going to get a wave around here before we go back under the green flag, just to show you the stark dominance for Ryan Patti this year. Coming into tonight, Patti had won 8 times in 18 starts. 10 total stage wins in those 18 starts as well. Again, remember, we only have 1 stage break per night. That means 10 of the 18 races coming into tonight, Ryan Patti won the stage. He has 15 top 5s and has never finished outside the top 10. In 18 starts, 17 of them counted for points. We do have a drop week in the Challenger Cup Series. For comparison, Harold Watkins, 16 starts, 2 stage wins, 3 total wins, 11 top 5s, 14 top 10s. Still an immeasurably great season. But Ryan Patti's season has been so unbelievably consistent and dominant that Watkins was behind the 8 ball even going into the last 5 races of the season. Now, he's made up a ton of ground. The valiant effort surely has been there for the driver of the 3. But now, he's got to dig deep and do it one more time. He dug deep at Phoenix last November to win the championship, which you could argue should have been his 2nd career title in this series. He's got to do so again tonight at Sonoma, a night where Christian Strader has been the best car on track, but there will be a green flag pit stop in this stage, meaning the strategy could flip on its head. Who gambles? Does Ryan Patti stay on offense? Does Watkins gamble trying to win the title? So much still has yet to happen in this race. A long ways to go, even if it doesn't seem like it. So we will get going for stage number 3, or stage number 2, rather, excuse me. See if Christian Strader can check out once again, and again, if he checks out to the same degree that we saw there in stage 1, you argue, is the strategy even going to make much of a difference? Or is Strader going to be so far out front that even a gamble is not enough to get Harold Watkins to the front of the field where he needs to be? They need to keep pace with the Strader machine better on this run. Now, they had started to do so at the end of the last run. They ran laps that were closer to Christian Strader. He was 3 seconds faster to open the race. They closed it down to just under a second. They need to continue to close the gap in stage 2. The final 29 laps of the Challenger Cup Series season and the championship battle come down to this. Green flag back in the air for the final time in Season 1 of 2026. Green flag. And off they go towards turns 1 and 2. Up through 1 and up the hill they go. Strader gets a good restart. Patti attacks here into 2. He wants to lead. Strader runs about a half a lane wide, maintains the lead for now. Patti tries to stay on offense. Watkins about 5 car lengths back. Patti trying to maintain the pressure on Christian Strader, and he will do so down the hill to turn 5. Backs up turn 5. Strader runs a little bit wide. Patti does too. Man, Strader good through the center of the corner right there in 5. He's been really good over here on this end of the speedway. And he's good again there through 7. Down the hill. Strader away with the lead. Patti 2nd. Watkins relegated to 3rd. Again, they need to keep it closer. Both those cars do on this run than they did on the last one. Down through 10 and working towards 11. It's already a half a second lead, but Patti is keeping arm's distance for now. Off 11 and back down to the start-finish line, and Strader opens it up on exit. Now 7/10. 28 to go. And Ryan Patti's content with this. He can run second. He can be 25 seconds back of the lead. Running second tonight is enough to win him the championship. For Harold Watkins, he's got to hope this thing stays close. And already he is 2 seconds back of the leader. They work down the hill to turn 5. Matt Hayden has recovered to 4th. He's now back in this conversation with the 3 leaders. It's down to 7 they go, 28 to go, and at some point in this final stage we'll see a pit stop. At this point we are unsure when that will be. For now we'll work lap 18. Schrader's opened up a 1.4 second lead. The lead got as high as 11 seconds on the last run in stage 1. We did not see so much of a mistake from Christian Schrader in that opening stage. We'll see if that continues here in stage 2. 19 already on the board. We're already 3 laps from halfway. It'll be one of the fastest races of the season at its conclusion. If it continues on like this. Taking a look at the lap times. Last time by, Schrader 1:14.1, his fastest lap of the race. Harold Watkins also ran his fastest lap of the race, though, a 1:14.95. So again, a couple of the guys, especially the 2 in the championship fight, are starting to pick up the pace just a little bit compared to Christian Schrader. The question will be, can they run him down? For Patti, he doesn't need to. And in fact, even if Watkins gets around him here, it will only be a big-time panic moment for Patti if Watkins is able to track down the leader. If Schrader's able to scoot away, Ryan Patti's night is semi-stress-free, knowing that he has at least a 9-point advantage now. Because if Watkins finishes second, most he could do would be get within 1 point. If the gap is 10, he has to win. There's no other choice. Now, Watkins were to go to victory lane tonight or get closer to Christian Schrader, then the panic button starts to hit for Ryan Patti. But for now, so far so good. Last time by, Schrader at the line with 26 to go, a 1:14.53. Watkins faster again, 1:14.88. He's within 3/10 of the leader's time now. He's picking up the pace in the middle stages. He's got to do a little bit more, though. They are losing considerable time now in this middle portion of the run. 4 seconds back. Again, if it gets to the 11-second number again, you have to wonder, would a gamble on pit road even save Watkins any time? Schrader continues to lead for now. 25 to go at Sonoma, 21 on the board. By the way, Greg Bermanier has gone 1 lap down to the leaders as he now sits in the 10th position. Again, they're doing a little bit better job here. Although last time, Schrader a second plus faster than all of the leaders, save for Matt Hayden. He was 7/10 faster than the 5. So now he starts to put a bigger gap between himself and those 2 championship cars, and that does not spell good news for the Harold Watkins camp. But a long ways to go still. A green flag pit stop to be made. Certainly curious to see what the gap is when we make it to that green flag pit stop in a little while. Schrader continuing to lead. It's about a 1 second lead for Patti over Watkins. No real battles on the speedway right now. I want to take some time before we get into that pit stop cycle here in just a little while and talk about some of the stories in the field tonight that don't revolve around the championship battle, and of which there are several. We mentioned Christian Strader already, a championship contender in 2025. We have not seen much of this year, but returned tonight to run Sonoma. And then we get into the guys that are towards the back half of the Chase field. Great stories from this year that are either not in the field tonight or otherwise we just have not mentioned them yet. Of course, we start with Andrew Little. Third in the points coming into tonight, a 14-point advantage over Cody Eldred. And running sixth right now, a spot ahead of Eldred, would lock that spot up. Matt Hayden 16 points back, would not be able to catch him. For Andrew Little, no wins, but 10 top fives, third most in the series behind Watkins and Patti. 15 top 10s, that's good for second. Tied with Eldred, 15 top 10s, 101 stage points. For Andrew Little, he may not have gotten a win. He got 2 wins last year, Martinsville and Bristol. He may not have gotten a win this year, but he had winning speed on multiple occasions in this season. He had the speed to go and win a race. I think back to Kansas. I think back to Michigan. I think back to Nashville and Martinsville and Bristol. I think back to times that Andrew Little ran up front. He just did not get the win to show for it, but a top 3 finish in points is going to be what the doctor ordered for Andrew Little this year. A successful season, to say the least, for the Waterford Concept Chevrolet. Quite possibly one of my favorite stories is Cody Eldred, who will finish somewhere around the top 5 in points. Of course, a bit of a contentious battle. He may lose the 4th spot to Matt Hayden tonight, but a top 5 finish in points for Cody Eldred. And a notable improvement this year in the stats department as well. He's still looking for win number 1 on his career, but 8 top 5s, 15 top 10s, again tied for second in the series, 68 total stage points. A really consistent year for Cody Eldred, and a year where I felt like as the year went on, he got more and more race winning speed. Also had one of the lowest incident count numbers of anyone in the field that ran more than about 10 to 12 starts. He had one of the lower numbers in the field. So for Cody Eldred, again, I felt like the speed got better as the year went on, to where by the time we got to the Chase, Cody Eldred, there's a couple of times he's had legitimate race-winning speed. I think back to Michigan as one of those races where you for sure thought Cody Eldred was going to be in the conversation for the victory, his first career win. There's been a couple of times in this Chase and even right before the Chase that we thought for sure he might get his first win. It didn't quite pan out, but regardless, a successful season, one that I would think he would be satisfied with. Again, you always want to get that first win, but a successful season nonetheless, and surely will be in a good position to win a race in Season 2, which starts next week in Chicagoland. Matt Hayden sits 5th in the points, although provisionally he is 4th. It's a season with no wins for Matt Hayden. He got a win back at Talladega in October. That's his last win. But 3 stage wins, 7 top 5s, and 12 top 10s for the driver of the 5. And again, a guy that had race-winning speed all year. 103 stage points. That's good for 3rd in the series this year. Luck was the big thing that got to Matt Hayden this year, at least in this first half of the season. It did not provide him opportunities to win. He had multiple chances to win races this year. Went awry for him at the last possible moment, but again, will likely have a top 5 finish in points. Could be as high as 4th by the time things are said and done tonight from Sonoma. Matt Hayden continues to be a perennial favorite everywhere we go on the schedule. And then we get into the outstanding rookies, the first of which is Clinton Woodby. Sits 6th in points tonight. We'll see if he holds on to that spot. As of right now, it does appear as if he will do so. And a top 6 finish in points for a rookie, and the kind of season that he had is extremely impressive. Of course, the 2 wins at Daytona and Talladega earlier in the year. He swept the conventional plate racing tracks, a plate racing ace that gained speed on every other discipline of tracks as the year went on. He had speed last week at Motegi, Michigan, Nashville, Pocono, Charlotte. He had speed at a number of racetracks this year beyond just the super speedways. 8 top 5s, 12 top 10s, 3 stage wins for Clinton Woodby in the 92. 107 stage points, good for 2nd in the series this year. Eight top 5s, 12 top 10s, sorry. 107 stage points. And for Clinton Woodby, he has burst onto the scene of this series. It's not easy for rookies to get victories. Of course, Ryan Patti won in his rookie season last year in 2025. We've had multiple rookies come in and win in their time in this series. But for Clinton Woodby, a guy that at Daytona we had heard maybe a little bit of a super speedway ace, to continue to get better as the year went on, to have that kind of stat line proves that he is here to stay in this series and will be a contender in Season 2 if he keeps it up. Of course, we go to Echo Park in a couple of weeks as well in this series. We go back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, a place that Woodby ran well. His teammate David Traylor won that race. We'll get to Traylor in just a minute. So for Woodby, going to that track in a couple of weeks, we go to Daytona coming up later in the year. A couple of tracks that favor that super speedway style, but his speed continues to get better. Surely he'll be a contender in Season 2. Greg Bourbonnier, 7th in points coming into tonight. 3 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and 17 starts. Had 30 stage points in this season as well, and has had a really formidable season. Made the chase, made the postseason for the second straight season. He made it to Season 2 of 2025. And that's another car this year that had top 5 speed over the last few weeks. Greg Bourbonnier, it's not gone his way tonight, but for Greg Bourbonnier, it is certainly a great season for him, one that you can't hang your hat on if you're the Bourbonnier camp coming into tonight. The Miller Lite Camry, of course, a multi-time podium finisher. He's still searching for win number 1. But again, a guy that finished on the podium in Atlanta back in July of 2025 in this race a year ago. I want to say finished on the podium in that race again back in February. Has a couple of podium finishes in this season as well. So for Bourbonnier, a guy that knows how to get it done, and again, a guy who has gotten more speed as the year has gone on. You'd anticipate he is in contention for a win at those super speedways and is getting to get where he has some speed at the other disciplines as well. For Bourbonnier, he'll likely finish at the very least 7th in the points here tonight. James Catrone is just behind him. In fact, he may overtake the 7th spot in points. The Oscar Mayer Chevrolet only made 15 starts this year. Had a 33% top 5 rate. 5 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and 15 starts. He had 48 stage points. Another guy searching for win number 1. He was very close to it at Michigan a couple of weeks back. He's been close to it a couple of times in his career. I think of Kansas back in Season 2 last year as well. Darlington also. Races where James Catrone's had race-winning speed. And he put together a good season this year as well, despite making 2 to 3 less starts than the guys ahead of him in points. He is still going to finish well inside the top 10, made the postseason with ease. He's had a pretty good postseason as well. Of course, he's up to 4th tonight, by the way. As Harold Watkins has brought his car down pit road. Clinton Woodby, by the way, is a lap down in the 92. As for Catrone, what a season it's been for him in the Oscar Mayer Chevy, and a guy that you'd expect to get win number 1. He's good at Bristol, he's good at Darlington, good at Kansas, he's good at a number of racetracks on the schedule, good at super speedway racing as well. You'd anticipate that win is coming, and I could say that for a number of drivers in this series. The win is going to happen for a number of these guys. The dam is going to burst, and for Catrone, it's only a matter of time. But a great season for him. Double-digit top 10s, 5 top 5s. That's good for top 6 in the series. A consistent driver. He always showed up with pretty good speed. Gotten a couple of his best finishes of the year here in the back half of Season 1 of 2026. Another one of the, we'll get to the other outstanding rookie in just a moment. 9th in points, Rusty Modesty coming into tonight. Again, a mainstay of the league. Winner at Daytona back in July of 2025. Did not find a win here in 2026 so far, with 3 top 5s and 11 top 10s. 47 stage points in 18 starts. Has been in contention for the win at places like Daytona and Atlanta and Bristol and Martinsville. Of course, remember back at Martinsville, he had the lead with about 25 to go. Had to pit late because of the strategy call. It didn't quite work out for him. You could argue he should have a win this year. Certainly one is coming. Again, plate tracks looming on the horizon, 1.5 miles. Well, we know the 6 car will show up with speed. He'll finish about 100 points off the points lead, missing tonight's race at Sonoma. Does a lot behind the scenes as well. A great season for Rusty Modesty, and surely to be back in contention for the chase in 2026 in Season 2. Then we get to the last of the outstanding rookies. at least the last one that made the playoffs. And that's David Traylor, 16 starts, although we have not seen him in a couple of weeks. And Traylor, like would be, one of the 2 rookies to win a race in this year. Actually, 3 rookies caught a win in this year's schedule, the other being Kevin Gunther, who won back at Bristol. Only 8 starts for Gunther this year. 3 top 5s, including the win at the last great Coliseum. Traylor captured 3 wins, with those coming in Atlanta in his second start in the series. Back-to-back rookie wins. The teammates swept the first 2 plate races of the year. And then he got a win at Martinsville, that chaotic finish where Ryan Patti runs out of gas off turn 4. Traylor takes advantage and gets the victory. And then he went out and won Charlotte. The week after the passing of Kyle Busch, he was one of the only cars in the field to sport a Kyle Busch tribute paint scheme. And he went on to victory lane, holding off Ryan Patti, who is, by the way, 16 laps from a championship tonight. And one of the coolest finishes, one of the coolest moments that I've ever gotten to be a part of. So for David Traylor, just that moment alone, I think, would be a good enough consolation prize this season. But 3 wins, 7 top 5s, 13 top 10s, and 16 starts, 50 stage points. You'll certainly take that. That's a heck of a rookie stat line for a first full season in the series. And again, with Atlanta looming, he's the defending winner there. The defending winner at Martinsville later on in the season in November. Defending winner at Charlotte. By the way, we go back to the Charlotte Oval in October also. So his 3 wins, he could defend all 3 of them in Season 2. The schedule sets up nicely for David Traylor. Trouble, and this could prove championship dependent. Ryan Patti has looped his car in turn 11. We'll get back to the storylines of the rest of the field in just a moment. Patti had just made his pit stop, and now is 6 seconds back of Harold Watkins. They both came to pit road a little bit early. Christian Strader and the rest of the field continue to run on the racetrack as they both try to flip this race on its head and go to victory lane. Watkins has to. But now Harold Watkins goes off, and he's off in the grass. And a major corner cut, and cut everything I just said. Because now Patti may get right back around him. For now, Watkins stays in front. He'll go to the inside of turn 7, but Patti's got momentum here down to the S's. Watkins very slow, and Patti drives on by. Andrew Little loops it in turn 11. Matt Hayden and James Catrone come to pit road. Watkins had just gotten the lead on Ryan Patti, gotten the jump on him there before the pit stop by pitting a lap early, and it comes back to bite him, and now he's going to go wide again off turn 10. You can see it starting to slip just a little bit. Strader still on the racetrack, by the way. Strader, Little, Eldred, the only 3 cars that have yet to make their, what we assume to be, final pit stop of the race. And here comes Christian Strader. So now we'll see. Did the gamble work for the 2 championship contenders, or will Strader maintain the lead off pit road here? He'll come to the attention of his crew. We anticipate that Andrew Little and Cody Eldred would pit here as well. We're nearing the end of the range for this next-gen race car. Andrew Little going to stay out. He'll lead a lap here. Cody Eldred going to stay out also. Patti is just now in the S's. Strader's already on the Jag. He's not left pit road yet. Patti's to turn 11. Strader's off the Jag, so the gamble's not going to pay off for our 2 championship contenders. Strader's actually going to have still an extended lead on both of them here. And with both their problems off pit road, it only extends the lead for Strader. So now Harold Watkins needs a miracle. Andrew Little continues to lead some laps here, though. Lead, by the way, for Schrader, 9.5 seconds off pit road. We'll wait Andrew Little and Cody Eldred to make their pit stops. Little going to go at least one more. Eldred also going to go one more. Schrader is catching both of these cars, by the way. The only thing for Little, so he's got about a 7.5 second gap. Watkins off again in turn 10 and loses more time to Ryan Patti. And 2 cars left to pit, 12 laps to go in this one. Some other good stories. The other rookies in the field, Bill Gartner, 2 top 5s and 8 top 10s in his 15 starts in the series. The first driver not in the playoffs, or rather the chase for the Challenger Cup. Not here tonight. The Red Bull Chevy, we anticipate he will be back in Season 2. Brian Cunningham was a part of the rookie class as well, as was Ron Walters in the 99. Kevin Gunther, of course, getting the win back at Bristol. Chaz Justice was in the rookie class. He had a top 5 this year. Fisher Graham, Skylar Berry, Colton Hardy, Adam Pettit, Garrett Skaggs, all making starts. Jesse Nolan and Michael Newman as well, all making starts this year as rookies in the Challenger Cup Series. Well, Andrew Little's on pit road. Cody Eldred's been caught. 11 to go. Schrader has run up on the back bumper. More likely attack for the leader, although he does have a considerable margin on the remainder of the leaders, including our 2 championship contenders. Up through 2, down the hill to turn 5. This is where Schrader will attack, and he'll get the spot on Eldred right there. So moves Schrader back to the race lead for now. Eldred still has to make the pit stop. It's likely that it will be Schrader, Patti, Watkins when this thing cycles back out. And again, with an 11-second gap, they're going to have to, rather Harold Watkins is going to have Christian Schrader make a mistake up front in order for this thing to change. It'll be 10 to go for Christian Schrader, 10 to go in the season when he gets back around to the start-finish line here momentarily. Again, some of the other storylines from the season. Drivers getting top 5s, having good runs. Of course, the moments that we saw throughout the course of this year. I mean, Daytona, again, with a rookie going to victory lane at Daytona in Clinton Woodby as Cody Eldred makes his final pit stop. A rookie going to victory lane. Back-to-back rookies at that going to victory lane at Daytona and Atlanta. A crazy storyline to start the 2026 season where 2 rookies were 1 and 2 in points after 2 races. Woodby and David Traylor. They would both go on to make the chase. That being the first of several crazy moments that we saw in this season. Harold Watkins crashes in the tire barriers at Circuit of the Americas, comes back to win the race anyway. I think back to battles we had at tracks like Darlington, Phoenix, Bristol, Classics, Martinsville, of course. Andrew Little's gone off track and crashed back at the leaders. I think of the fight that we had at Martinsville, the finish that we had specifically, the strategy that came down to the end of that race, and then, of course, Ryan Patti trying to stretch it. Runs out of gas off turn 4. There's a crash. David Traylor drives through and win the race. One of the craziest finishes we've seen in series history. I think back to Bristol and Kevin Gunther battling back to win the race with a late race pass. And Talladega with Clinton Woodby going back to victory lane for his second victory. And Charlotte with David Traylor winning the race there. The finish at Michigan here in the chase. where Ryan Patti got to Harold Watkins, moved him out of the way. There was a multi-car accident, a scramble, a melee right at the line. One of the craziest finishes that we've seen in this series history as well. I think of Harold Watkins' win last week to put him in position to even have a chance at the championship tonight. And though, unless something massive happens in the next 8 laps or so, it does not look like it'll come to fruition. The resilience that Watkins had to make this a battle against a guy in Ryan Patti who's been so good all year. Surely, Harold Watkins has nothing to be ashamed of after tonight. But what a season it's been. The series continues to produce moment after moment. And again, it leads me back to the point that this series doesn't need to have 40 cars on track for the racing to be good quality, for the racing to be exciting. It can have 15-car fields and have big things happen and big-time moments that we'll remember for a long time. Some of my favorite moments I've gotten to call have been in this series in fields that were 20 cars or less. So often there's a stereotype that leagues need to have big car counts for the racing to be exciting. I can tell you right now, folks, if you watched any Challenger Cup Series action this season, last year in Season 1 of 2025, you would know that's not true. The storylines, the moments, the action that can take place on a nightly basis in this series are nothing short of exhilarating, and this championship battle going to be one of the poster moments, poster examples of that thought. Christian Schrader is 7 laps away, a little bit less than that now, actually, from his first victory in a while in this series. In fact, it may date all the way back to Sonoma last year. It was the last time we would have seen Schrader in victory lane. I can't exactly recall. It may be the first time in a year that we've seen Schrader in victory lane in this series. He's about 6.5 laps away from that. Harold Watkins is under attack for the 3rd spot from Matt Hayden. I will tell you, if Watkins is unable to finish on the podium tonight, there's a decent chance we will add an extra interview. We will talk to Harold Watkins, of course, the other car in the championship battle tonight. Get his thoughts on his season as a whole, the championship fight, and look forward to Season 2 of 2026 as well. 14 wins in a year and a half for Harold Watkins is nothing to scoff at. Of the 45 or so races we've run in the past year and a half, Watkins and Patti have won 12 of them. Or no, excuse me. Ryan Patti and Harold Watkins have won 26 of them. Watkins won 11 times in 2025, 3 times in 2026. Patti won 4 times in 2025 and 8 times in 2026. They've combined to win over half of the races that we've run in the past year and a half. 2 drivers have combined to win 26 of the 45 races in this series. As Hayden did get by Watkins. They'll get the 5 out the flag stand, this time by from Patti. Lets us know we are 5 laps from the end of the first of 2 seasons in 2026 for the Challenger Cup Series. And again, barring anything massive happening, Christian Schrader and or Ryan Patti, the championship and the race appear to be headed for their conclusion. Without as much fanfare as we may have thought, an entertaining battle up to this point nonetheless. Now, we'll get this discussion out of the way now as well. This series will not take a break. There is no off season between the 2 series. The series does follow the Cup Series schedule. We are not taking an off week between the 2 seasons. Season 2 starts next week at Chicagoland. 135 laps, and we'll start anew. Points will be zeroed out. Everybody's back on a level playing field. Looking forward to seeing maybe some new drivers, some returning drivers next week for Season 2. Chicagoland, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis will lead us into the off week. An exciting month of July. All kinds of different racing disciplines going on there in July. Chicagoland, Atlanta, North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis. Chicago returns to the schedule, an exhilarating high-speed mile and a half. Atlanta, plate racing. North Wilkesboro back to the short track. Points race. Indianapolis, the Brickyard, such a unique place that we go every year. Then a few technical short flat ovals. Iowa, Richmond, and New Hampshire will bring us out of the off week into the end of the month of August. We're going to do a trip to Daytona, the World Center of Racing, on September 1st. Then a return trip to Darlington. Second race of the year there. Gateway makes its debut on the schedule in the month of September, as Bristol, Kansas, Las Vegas all return. Last Great Coliseum on September the 22nd for back-to-back mile-and-a-half cookie-cutter trips to Kansas and Las Vegas to end off the regular season. And then the Chase, which consists of 5 races, and it is all over the place as well, and it's got some action-packed tracks. Charlotte, not the Roval, it's back on the oval. Phoenix, where we had the Season 2 championship last year, moves up in the Chase this year to race number 2. Talladega Super Speedway, the biggest and baddest, returns on October the 27th before a trip to Martinsville as the penultimate race, and then back to Homestead, Miami, the first championship race in Homestead in the series history. We will be there on November 10th to conclude the 2026 Challenger Cup Series campaign just before we have the Fall Brawl on November 17th. That race, Pro 2s at Martinsville, should be a fun way to blow off steam for drivers in the series this year. But Season 1 is nearing its conclusion, and as it does, again, it will not be the fanfare that we anticipated it would be. Sonoma, certainly not as exhilarating a racetrack as perhaps it could be for a championship race. It's just where the halfway point of the season happened to fall. It's where the championship race would end up getting placed. We come up on popsicle sticks to the line. Schrader has, by the way, a 25-second lead on the field. His lap times have been consistently over a second faster than the leaders. Christian Schrader came to play tonight. It's just 2 1/4 laps from his first victory in the series in a long time. And a welcome one at that. But now it's time to start wrapping things up. For Schrader, a welcome victory. His first in just under a year, at least if my recollection is correct. We don't see Christian as much as we'd like to anymore, but this will be a big win for him. Again, a welcome one here on a Tuesday night to have him back in Challenger Cup Series victory lane in just a little bit. We'll focus back on him in a second when he takes the white flag. But we start to wrap up the championship now. Ryan Patti made his Challenger Cup Series debut back in the month of August of 2025. Closer to September, really. And ran about 9 starts. It was not enough to make a playoff run. He won 4 times anyway in his first half of season in Challenger Cup Series action. And it was all but guaranteed that he would be a contender in this series. That he would contend for wins, contend for a championship, and be a force to be reckoned with on Tuesday nights if he ran a full season and got into his rhythm. And get into his rhythm, he did. It took him a few races to get to victory lane the first time, but once he did, it became one of the most dominant efforts that I've ever seen in a league racing season, especially in a league that is not exclusively run on super speedways, where it can be a little bit easy to run up front, lead a lot of laps, and win a bunch of races. To do this in multiple disciplines is very, very difficult, especially in a fixed setup league, one where everyone has the same equipment. And for Patti, as he now laps by the start-finish line, this will be the first of potentially multiple Challenger Cup Series titles in the future of this driver right here. It did not come without a little bit of adversity. He did not have the chase run that he likely wanted to. He lost a lot of ground and a lot of points lead When the points reset, it looked like Patti would just drive away with it again. He did not. Harold Watkins gave it everything that he could. But in the end, it's the dominance of Patti that will surely prevail. For this man here, it's not a championship, but he'll do the burnout all the same by the time he comes back around to the start-finish line. He'll come off turn 11 for the first time in a calendar year. Christian Schrader, a Challenger Cup Series winner. He dominates in Sonoma, and he'll drink the wine in victory lane. Schrader wins, but as this man works to turn 11, sure, it wasn't the chase that he wanted it to be. Sure, it was closer than he wanted it to be. But surely, the Fast House Chevrolet would not be denied. An 8-time winner in 2026, he is finally a Challenger Cup Series champion. Ryan Patti, the best of them all. He's your champion from Sonoma. A season for the ages. It's not his 9th win. And he'll likely tell you that he wanted it to be in victory lane. But it counts all the same. It was a tough blow that it was not enough starts to make the playoffs in 2025, or you'd likely be looking at a back-to-back series champ. But he stuck it out. He waited until 2026. He waited his turn. When 2026 started, it was very clear, very fast. He was going to be the favorite. He held the points lead all year. He took the points lead about 5 races into the season and never gave it up again. He led the points for close to 13 consecutive weeks. And now in Sonoma, his crowning moment. He'll come off turn 11, and he'll get to do the burnout. And we'll give him the opportunity to celebrate. Ryan Patti, the Season 1 champ in 2026. And so as Ryan Patti completes a Polish victory lap, take a look at the results from tonight's race, and then get into talking to the top 3, including your Season 1 2026 champ, Ryan Patti. Christian Schrader wins by 25.7 seconds. The remainder of the field, Ryan Patti finishes in the 2nd spot, and that is good enough for his first career Challenger Cup Series title. Matt Hayden finishes 3rd tonight. Harold Watkins 4th. A valiant effort in the points battle was not quite enough tonight for the defending champ. James Catrone finishes in the 5th spot with Cody Eldred 6th, Andrew Little 7th. Clinton Woodby, Brandon Beauchamp, and Greg Bermanier round out the field. Well, let's talk to your top 3. We'll start first with the man who finished in victory lane. We're going to go kind of reverse order. We do want to talk to the champ, Ryan Patti, at the very end here. So we're going to kind of mix up the order on these guys just a little bit. Make sure the audio is good so that you can hear what they've got to say after an exciting one tonight from Sonoma. First up, the man in Challenger Cup Series victory lane. This has been a long time coming for the driver of the 29. The Reese's Ford Mustang Dark Horse of Christian Schrader in Challenger Cup Series victory lane for the first time since 2025. Christian, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Well, man, it has been a while since we've seen you out here on the racetrack. You come back at one of the best tracks that you run at every year, Sonoma Raceway. Of course, got a 2nd place finish here last year. This night, though, it was all you from the very start. What went in to the domination tonight at Sonoma?
I got better at road course racing during the time away. That's the main thing. Did a little bit of extra road course racing at times. Ran a little bit more GT3 stuff and kind of figured out how the heck to drive the road cars a little bit better. So it luckily transfers over to stock car racing. And also, I just love this place. This is probably my favorite road course that we go to, besides maybe one of the street courses, which are always fun. But no, I guess it paid off. It felt pretty good. So pretty happy with that.
Well, absolutely. And again, dominance the name of the game tonight. And kind of want to, get your thoughts on the feeling of coming back, not only getting to race against these guys, but to get back to victory lane. It's been a while. It's been almost a calendar year since we've seen you win in this series. Kind of take me through, obviously knowing, processing that you're going to win the race without a mistake very, very early on in the stage 2. But knowing that you're going to win, coming across the line, it's official. You're back into Challenger Cup Series victory lane. How does this one feel for you?
Oh, dude, it feels great. I love running over here. I love running with these guys. I am going to be back next season, so I will be running full time again. Unfortunately, it has been shorter than a calendar year. The one race that I came back and ran, semi-recent, well, one of the 2 that I came back and ran, you actually missed. That was one of the nights you worked, and I ended up winning that one. Actually, I was going to say, so I think unfortunately, we both have mistimed on both the other starts that I've made this season. But just had to take a break, needed to go out, do a couple other things. My nights kind of changed, and now they're back to good. So should be coming back to running full-time next season, and looking forward to it. I know Ryan's been very, very quick, and of course Harold's always fast, and Matt and everybody. So I think it'll be pretty competitive, and it should be a lot of fun coming back and running a full season and seeing what I got. Obviously, the road course side was pretty good tonight, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes on the Noval next week.
Well, filing under errors and omissions, the one night I missed this season, of course, is the one that you go to victory lane. Regardless, first broadcasted win since we saw you last year in this series. And you mentioned going full-time next season, and you talked about the road course program a little bit. Ryan Patti obviously is now a champion of the series. We've seen you battle Harold Watkins before. But you add in that element. There's a few new drivers in this series as well that have won races this year. A bit of a new field, a bit of a new look competition, if you will, going into next season. Some road courses, are going to come up, but it's mostly ovals in Season 2. In fact, it's entirely ovals in Season 2. Some places that you're good at, Darlington, Gateway, among other tracks. How do you attack Season 2 to where maybe we're seeing you hoist the championship at the end of November?
I think it's going to be the same thing here. Wanting to come out, get some practice laps, of course. But I think next week will be a good indicator of where I stack up, and just kind of seeing where I run with the guys, and also just kind of learning how everybody races. It's been a little bit, and I feel like you kind of got to spend a little bit of time kind of, I guess, seeing your competition and seeing what they do and how they race and where they're weak at and things like that. Because if it's short run speed that I'm missing, like that's something that I'll have to work on, or if it's long run pace. I mean, um, we've been around each other for quite a while. There was times like when we ran like Gen 4 and things like that that typically like long run speed was the important part. So kind of getting back to used to that, seeing where it's going to be important to make up time and just kind of learning from everybody and seeing what everybody does. I don't know exactly how I'm going to stack up with the oval side. I mean, last time I ran, um, Ryan ended up getting the best of me at Texas. The time before that, I got the best of him at Vegas, and so I think it should be interesting. I think hopefully that kind of points to having some good finishes and racing for some wins. Um, but we'll have to kind of see. Things are things are ever changing. You people will get better, and hopefully I didn't fall behind.
Well, certainly didn't fall behind tonight. A dominant victory for you in the lefts and rights of Sonoma. So before we let you go celebrate and get right to prepping for Chicagoland next week to open Season 2, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just thank you to Andrew and Rusty and Matt and everybody and Harold for putting this all together. I mean, they do a really good job and it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy coming back and racing here. It is a blast, and everybody in the field, they do a good job. The racing's clean, the racing's good, and it's just fun. Of course, I want to say thank you to you. Been a while, and I'm glad to see you again. And always love the broadcast. I feel like you do an excellent job. Well, probably my favorite broadcaster. So it's pretty good to be back, and I'm pretty happy. And that's all the people I want to say thank you to.
Well, Christian, appreciate the time. Congratulations on the victory tonight in Sonoma. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you in Chicagoland next week as you return to the series full time.
Yeah, I'll see you next week.
Christian Strader, winner tonight from Sonoma, and you heard it there. Add a contender to the list of potential championship favorites for 2026 Season 2 as Christian Strader returns to the campaign full time starting next week in Chicagoland. He ends off Season 1 with a victory here in Sonoma. His second of the season, might I add. His second victory. Not necessarily his first one. So sorry about that. Errors and omissions on me. Let's talk to the man who finished third. Before we talk to our series champion this year, I want to save that for the end of the interviews tonight, of course, with him being the champion. We'll talk to Matt Hayden first. And again, for Matt Hayden, a third place finish tonight, a top 4 finish in points. Did not get a win in 2026, but certainly not a season, again, to hang your hat on if you're Matt Hayden. Contended for wins more than once. He'll have some tracks coming up here in the next 8 weeks or so that we would likely see him contend at. And we'll see if he can get back to victory lane over the months of July and August. Matt Hayden tonight, the Oakley Chevy, good for third on the charts tonight in Sonoma. We'll get his thoughts on that, have him reflect here on this season. We'll start to look forward to Season 2 of 2026. Matt, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dawson.
A top 3 for you tonight in Sonoma, a night where Christian Strader was in a bit of a different zip code, but a top 3 for you. Finished us off a top 4 finish in points for you as well. You know, take me through kind of your night from Sonoma as things got spread out pretty early.
Yeah, obviously really happy with the finish because there's a lot of good road course guys. Obviously, 3 of them were out in front of me for most of the race, and then I think there were some Hail Mary strategy calls, obviously a championship on the line, so I don't think we really raced our way into third, but you know, I think it just worked out that way. Harold kind of fell off. I think he took a gamble not taking tires there, so yeah, no, happy with it. Obviously eventful race. I don't know how much was caught. I know it was a low car count tonight with being the end of the first half of the season and being a road course at that. So I think we had several guys that didn't want to affect championship race, were afraid they were going to cause issues and stuff. So I think it just kind of lent itself to a lower field. But yeah, if I could have just kept it on the track a little more, I think we may have had something to move up one more spot. But yeah, definitely no one for Christian tonight.
Well, look, third for you is good enough to advance you to fourth in points as we end off this first season. 8 top 5s, 13 top 10s. Again, you finished fourth in the standings after making a run into the chase for the Challenger Cup. As we leave Season 1, what's your biggest takeaway from this season in terms of your own performance with those 8 top 5s?
Yeah, that's good and all, but obviously you got to be a little bit more consistent. We had a couple of good tracks on the schedule that we just made mistakes and did some dumb things. Texas would have been a great track for us, and we just, I don't know, we just one of our worst races. So just stuff like that. I think there's a lot better tracks on the schedule from the back half of the season. So excited about those tracks coming up. So I think there's just more opportunity to kind of be more consistent and score more points. It's, obviously there's a lot of good drivers, and I think there's opportunity. I think we've got some new faces joining. So it'll be good to see what kind of competition comes in and just kind of what the racing will bring. But excited for the next half.
Now let's talk about the next half real quick as well. Some tracks that we do anticipate that you'll be up front and contending for the win. Of course, you're the defending winner at Talladega from last October. That track on the schedule here in Season 2. But a number of those cookie cutters. You talked about Las Vegas, Kansas, Darlington, other places, Indianapolis, Chicagoland, places we expect that you'll be up front. What are the tracks you're circling in Season 2, that you expect to be up front, that you maybe can get a win and put yourself in championship contention?
Yeah, definitely the back half with some of the super speedways, Talladega, Daytona. Obviously, it's always a mixed bag where anyone can win. So I think everyone's got an equal percentage chance that they could come out and take a victory out of there. I've always felt good strategy-wise on those drafting tracks, kind of position myself to be in contention towards the end of it. So we always look forward to those. Definitely, some of those that you named, we're Indy's always been kind of one of those, it's a fast track, but it's also a super technical track. So excited to see that. Darlington and all those have always been good. A lot of those, Kansas has always been a good track. Obviously Homestead towards the back half. So there's a lot of good opportunities on the schedule to try to hopefully get back in victory lane. It's been a long time.
Well, third for you tonight at Sonoma of top 4 points finish for you here in Season 1 of 2026. Before we let you go and start to prep for the Season 2 opener next week, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody, Challenger, everybody associated behind the curtain. It's been a lot of fun putting this thing together and being involved with it. I mean, I've raced in several other leagues when the one that, all of us have kind of pitched in to try to, keep going and have fun on Tuesday night. So just appreciate all the hard work that everyone has put in over these, I guess, 2.5 years or whatever it's been now. Shout out to Christian for coming and kicking our ass. I'm lucky to race with him. We'll be running the Spa 24, I think, next weekend, or the weekend, the 11th. Next weekend. So excited to have him. I've got John Velocity, who used to race with us back here, so we'll be making an attempt at that. So really looking forward to doing some more endurance racing coming up here pretty soon. Dawson, again, thank you so much for putting this on and giving a platform for all of our friends and family to kind of watch this hobby that we love. I want to thank Austin, my son, out at home, for watching. Laura out there for supporting me. Appreciate you. And thanks to everybody out there for watching.
Matt, thanks for the time. Congratulations on the third place run tonight from Sonoma. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you next week in Chicagoland for the Season 2 opener.
Appreciate it, Austin.
Matt Hayden. Third tonight, fourth in the points. The driver of the 5C searches for victory lane in Season 2, starting with Chicagoland next week. But that brings us to the man of the hour. And again, a guy I talked about last year as being a potential future champion of this league. And tonight, he achieves just that. In just his first full-time season as a Challenger Cup Series driver, the Fast House Chevy and its driver Ryan Patti are champions of the Challenger Cup Series, an 8-win campaign, one of the great league seasons you will ever see. It does not end with a win tonight in Sonoma, which might be the most ironic part of the 8-win title run season for Ryan Patti this year. Though he won almost half the starts, it did not even take a win at Sonoma for him to win the championship. Perhaps he'll find some humor in that. Regardless, he is now the defending Challenger Cup Series champion. We'll talk to him about that and look forward to him defending the crown when we head to Chicagoland next week. Ryan Patti, the Season 1 2026 Challenger Cup Series champion. Ryan, it's Dawson, the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Dawson, how we doing?
Well, not too bad, but probably not as good as you are. Look, debuting last year in 2025, you come into the league, you win 4 races, and the league tells you can't run in the playoffs. And you could argue you might have been a championship contender a year ago. We said all offseason it would probably be a championship favorite type season for you this year. We could not have anticipated the season that it was. 8 wins in 19 starts. It ends with a championship. First and foremost, what's going through your head? What were the emotions like when you cross the start-finish line? You're officially a Challenger Cup Series champion.
Just really, really happy, proud, relieved. This is the first league championship I've had since I think 2022 or 2023. So it's good to be able to put together a whole season like this. I know, having speed's one thing, winning races is another, but winning championships against drivers that you race with week in and week out, where anything could go wrong, be it contact or poor strategy or just making your own mistakes, being able to pull off a championship, especially in a shortened season like that with a chase format with tracks that are a little bit unusual, with being in Japan and then ended up here at Sonoma. Really, it's something I didn't take for granted. I didn't know if it would actually happen. So being able to show up, put together a solid race here, stay clean, and bring home a P2 to lock it in was, I feel great. It's just really, really satisfying.
Well, look, now a season and a half under your belt, counting the few starts that you made back in 2025, and of course already a championship, but 12 career wins to your name headed into season 2 of 2026. A season and a half in, you've gotten to race against the best of the series. Of course, tonight you get to race against Christian Schrader. He made a couple starts this year. You've gotten to race against the best in this series now. As you reflect on the last season and a half, but primarily, of course, this championship run, your big takeaways, the things you've learned after a season and a half so far in this series.
Takeaways. I mean, like you said, there's a best of the best are really good. Christian Schrader came out tonight and just basically embarrassed the field. His lap time and his consistency on these road courses is unbelievable. Racing against him at Watkins Glen is one thing, and I've been able to beat him there, but that's probably the track I'm the most comfortable with from a road course perspective. Here at Sonoma, he had everyone's number, so that was really, I guess it's really telling that if someone like Christian shows up every week, especially him, Matt Hayden, Harold Watkins, these guys make it real difficult to be able to be consistently fast and at the front. So I'm pumping these guys up, but it's because they make it so difficult, and it's not like I just show up and win every week. I mean, they push me to be better and to have to put my best foot forward every time we show up on the racetrack here in Challenger. So it's been a blast. I hope it continues. I hope this league grows and we attract more talent that's more shows up consistently and really just helps with the competition, because we got a good thing going here, and it's really rewarding when when you can come out on top.
Well, good thing going indeed, but now we turn our focus to defending the crown. Again, unlike most league schedules, we'd normally get an off season. This league a little bit different in this midpoint. You have to turn around and now prep for an entire new season of racing at different tracks. There's some new tracks coming up on the schedule. We did not race that in season 1, and you don't even get a break. You get to celebrate here for a little bit, but then it's right back to work. Of course, tracks like Chicagoland and Indianapolis make their debut. North Wilkesboro, Iowa, Richmond, places we have not been yet this year. Gateway comes to mind as well. A number of tracks we just have not made the trip to, and you have to completely flip the script a week removed from winning a championship. How do you build on it? You've obviously won the title now. How do you defend the crown in season 2 and become a back-to-back champion?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one just to stare at trophies and say, hey, like, look how good I am because I've done things in the past. I'm always looking forward to the next race. So whatever track that's going to be coming up, most of the time I'm looking forward to it. There are some tracks that I don't really enjoy or I'm not very good at. Sonoma was one of them, so that's why it's a little bit more satisfying to come away with a good finish. But yeah, I mean, the cool part about this league, and it being a fixed league is that you're showing up and driving the same car as everyone else, the same setup as everyone else. Most of these guys out here, including myself, get very limited time in the seat throughout the week to practice and hone the line and the braking points and all that stuff. So when we get to sit down here on Tuesdays, you're really coming in against pretty equal, I guess equal opportunity against all the other drivers, and that's the really fun part here. So for me, we'll just take it 1 week at a time. We'll show up, we'll get as much practice in as we can, and we'll try to just outcompete the rest of the field if we can.
Well, as this season comes to an end, of course, you stand on top of them all, the 2026 Season 1 champion of the Challenger Cup Series. You obviously now turn your focus to defending the crown, but before we let you go and get prepped for Chicagoland next week, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out after this one here at Sonoma?
Yeah, first and foremost, shout out, thank you to my wife, my support system here. She's wonderful and letting me, come down to the, to our little game room and do this, iRacing stuff every so often, including Tuesdays. So I love you to my wife, and thank you for everything that you let me do here, and always being supportive. Of course, shout out to the guys that put this league on. It takes a team of admins to run a league of any size, and these guys do a wonderful job, maintaining a great rules package, race control, bring a broadcast, graphics, maintaining the Discord, keeping it fun. There's a lot that goes behind it that a lot of people may not recognize. So I want to thank all the admins that put this together, and shout out to the top guys in the league. Racing with Harold Watkins has been a challenge all year long. Finished second in the points, very easily could have won the championship tonight. So hats off to him. Got a ton of respect for him. The way that he drives, the speed that he has, just fantastic. So that, and I don't know if Cody or Andrew finished third in the points. We'll have to wait and see. But both of them really great, consistent drivers and fun to run around. So I don't want to go on too long here, but thanks to you, Dawson, for putting on the show every week. It's always great to go back and watch. Very professional, so thanks for that. And I'm gonna make a quiet exit here. So thanks a bunch. I appreciate you.
Well, Ryan, thank you for your time. Congratulations on becoming a Challenger Cup Series champion tonight in Sonoma. Go enjoy it, go celebrate, but start to get prepared to defend the crown next week in the opener at Chicagoland.
Yeah, you bet. We'll be there.
Ryan Patti, a season for the ages in 2026 so far. 8 wins, 12 total on his career, and it ends tonight with a second-place finish in Sonoma, and that's good for a championship, the first in what could be a decorated Challenger Cup Series career for the Fast House Chevy. It'll start to wrap things up for us here from Sonoma Raceway as Ryan Patti begins celebrating anew. He may very well celebrate all the way back to the garage. And as he does so, we will start to wrap things up tonight from Sonoma. And again, unlike most leagues, we're not going to take much of a break. Normally, this would be the entire spiel before the offseason. We're going to take 3 months off. We'll be back in a little while. We're not. We're not going to take a break. Ryan Patti gets about 6 days to celebrate this win, and then he shows up in Chicagoland in a week's time and goes at it again to defend the crown. That's the unique part of this series, getting split in half following the Cup Series schedule starting next week. But for now, for tonight, for the next week, and really for the entirety of Season 2, though he'll be working towards another one, Ryan Patti can celebrate. He's officially a Season 1 champion in the Challenger Cup Series. A hard-fought points battle comes to its end tonight. What a season it was in Season 1. It had its fair share of moments. We talked about them all throughout the night and wrapped things up in the only fashion that we know how here at Sonoma Raceway. And as we wrap things up here again, we turn our attention to Season 2. And what a points battle it was, and I think that sets us up perfectly for Season 2. We will have some new faces in the league come Season 2, starting next week in Chicagoland. Some faces returning as well. You heard Christian Strader say he's back too. And you remember some of the battles that those drivers shared last year in this series. And Strader now rejoins the pool of competition, and it should make for an exhilarating Season 2 coming up in a week's time. I don't want to go on too long either, but do want to say some things as we wrap up the season in quotes. Again, we're going to be going at it again next Tuesday night from Chicagoland. Let's give you that schedule first. The schedule for the rest of the week, kind of tell you about some things coming up, and then I'll wrap things up with a little bit of a ramble here at the end. Coming up this week, before we get to where we are next week, of course, we're in Chicago next week, same time, 8:30. We'll get to that in a second. Starting out later on in this week, though. Of course, tomorrow night, I'll not be on the call. The Moonshiners Racing League comes here to Sonoma with its GMD Janitorial Cup Series. Justin Prince, Zach Case have the call for you on Precision Entertainment. Thursday night, PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series is back for another event. as we inch closer to the biggest sim racing event of the summer. As tomorrow night, Thursday night, we wrap up the Next Gen Mini Championship Series, the first race of Q3 of the PGR schedule here on Thursday nights. It's Next Gen's at Talladega to wrap up that mini series throughout the month of June. And then we turn our attention to the big one. We'll get to that in just 1 second. Later on in the week, the Midnight Racing League and its Contender Series will be back here on PGR on Friday night. Of course, MMS action, including MMS Donators and its Championship Series on the channel as well with our good friend Jim Bob over on PGR eSports as well. He'll have all the coverage for you from that one. Monday night, the PGR Light Series has ended its season, but it's had its first off-season race last night. It'll have another next Monday night as we begin the run-up to what should be an enticing week of racing at the end of July. We'll get to that in just 1 second. Next Tuesday, we're back from Chicagoland. Season 2 begins from Chicagoland Speedway. We'll be right back from Joliet for race 1 of Season 2. We don't get much of a break here in Challenger. It'll come right back to you next Tuesday night as we work to crown another Challenger Cup Series champ and start a brand new campaign. That would be a lot of fun next Tuesday night, 8:30, right here on PGR eSports. Cannot wait to have the call for you for that one. As we start to wrap things up here, one more thing about scheduling, then I'll get into my little ramble here before we end things off tonight. The last thing, the biggest event coming up for PGR eSports, the third annual PGR SummerSlam 499, the biggest sim racing event of the summer, returns in 2026, and the schedule has officially been released. It works as follows. It'll be the weekend of Sunday, August 2nd, and running up to that event, we'll have multiple prelim races in the schedule that will set the field for that race. It all begins on Wednesday, July 29th at 9 p.m. with heat race number 1. It's finally time for another crown jewel in PGR. I cannot wait to be a part of this event again, as I'll be back in the booth for a number of the races that weekend, including the lead voice of the SummerSlam 499 on Sunday afternoon, August 2nd. We'll begin on Wednesday, July 29th. Heat races will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, July 29th, 30th, and 31st. 9 p.m. start on Wednesday, 8 p.m. start Thursday and Friday. Saturday evening, we'll have 2 last chance qualifier races, and then a unique near pole shootout race. If you remember back in February, we had a pole shootout. This race will include the 24 cars that qualify from the heat race for the SummerSlam 499. They will race for their starting positions at 9 p.m. on Saturday, just after both of the last chance qualifiers. Those get going at 6 p.m. And then on Sunday, August 2nd, it's the third annual SummerSlam 499 on PGR eSports. I cannot wait to be back on the call for that one. Numerous voices will be a part of that weekend. Can't wait to have Austin Green back on the call. Believe we're going to have some work for Justin Prince that weekend as well as he rejoins the PGR crew, amongst numerous other voices that you'll probably hear throughout that weekend. Can't wait to be a part of it once again. The biggest sim racing event of the summer is back as Malik Ray tries to defend his back-to-back wins in the SummerSlam 499. That's going to just about do it for us from Sonoma. And as we get to the end of another season, I do want to take a moment and express how grateful I am to the league admins, Rusty, Harold, Matt Hayden, Andrew Little, all of the folks over at Challenger, James Wright as well, the race controller for these races every Tuesday night. I want to say thanks to those guys for continuing to entrust me with the broadcasting rights for this series. It's been so much fun to be a part of this campaign over the last year and a half or so, and can't wait to continue on here to the end of 2026. I know this sounds like an I'm leaving type ramble. It's not. Just want to take a moment and reflect at the end of this season. Grateful to those guys for entrusting me. I can't wait to keep coming back and putting on a heck of a show for all of you at home. These guys make my job really easy. Again, low car counts, it does not matter. These guys put on a show every single week, no matter where we go. Plate track, short track, intermediate, road course. It's always fun on a Challenger Tuesday night in America. Season 1 of 2026 is in the books, and for Ryan Patti, it's an all-time league season, one that we may never see the likes of again unless he remakes it here in season number 2. An excellent points battle between he and Harold Watkins, a great chase format as well. Twists, turns, big moments, big wins, all across this season set us up perfect for what should be an electric season number 2. That's going to just about do it for us from Sonoma as we start to turn the page to season 2. Want to thank you all for watching as well. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if we didn't have an audience to come watch it. Thank you so much for tuning in week after week. Continue to support not only the Challenger Cup Series, but all of the work we're doing here at PGR eSports. We've got big things coming and big things on the horizon. Of course, the SummerSlam 499 is our crown jewel for the month of July. Be here for that. but also continue to support all of our weekly series as well. We all appreciate it. We all love doing this. We all love showing up. It's a passion for all of us, and can't wait to bring you more content here in the future. Season 1 is a wrap. Season 1 is over. The first half of the Challenger Cup Series schedule in 2026 is over, and we now turn our attention to Season 2, and it begins all anew in Joliet, Illinois, next Tuesday night. That's going to do it for us. It's time to say goodnight here from Sonoma, from Wine Country. Christian Schrader drinks the wine in victory lane, but it's an all-too-sweet victory tonight in the championship for the Fast House Chevrolet. As for the first time in his career, Ryan Patti is a Challenger Cup Series champion. Hope to see you all back for Chicagoland next week as we kick off Season 2. Until then, my name is Dawson Wise, and you've been watching PGR eSports and the Challenger Cup Series and its chase for the Challenger Cup. Congratulations to Christian Schrader on a victory tonight in Sonoma, and to Ryan Patti for being crowned Season 1 champion in 2026. Until next time, we'll see you for Season 2 next week in Chicago. Until then,